John Fregonesi from Fregonesi and Associates. And John, what kind of meeting was this tonight?
This was really a meeting to kick off the project. It was a meeting to introduce us to the public. Looks like we had a very good crowd and a lot of talking going on out there. I think the goal of this plan is to involve as many people as we possibly can deciding the future of West Feliciana.
And what is the next step, John?
The next biggest step for the public is on November 29th. We're going to have a workshop. We want everyone to come and to help. You'll have a large map. You'll be able to sit down with your neighbors and you'll be able to design what you think the future West Feliciana would be. That's going to be the foundation for the comprehensive plan that will be presented to the police jury later in 2008.
And how can people now find out information about the meeting schedules and
the meeting schedule? They can call Nancy Jensen at the police jury, and also go to the. There's going to be a website up with the West Feliciana name, and they'll be able to go to that. We'll be getting that information out to the public in the next 2 weeks. We don't have the website up just yet. They can also go to www.frego.com. and get information on how to find out more about the West Feliciana project.
And how long does this planning process go before you hand them actually a completed plan?
You have about a year. It takes about a year. We'll be pretty much rolling into developing the plan in the spring, and by this time next year, the plan should be adopted and in place and acted.
You know, a higher expectation, you know, higher or whatever, in order to have all the pieces of the puzzle available when necessary.
I agree that we should have, even if you don't want to grow rapidly, you should be ready for it. It starts to happen and you can't turn off the spigot. You should be ready to maintain your livability on the high growth scenario. But the problem is the high growth scenario, if it requires you to spend money up front of the census and kind of delve into that. But well, let me ask, how many of you feel that West Feliciana will probably not grow substantially in the next 30 years? Raise your hand.
What's substantial?
Say more than 25%. That you'll basically, your 10,000, you'll be 12,500 in 2030.
Before we answer that, is that without a plan?
Let's just leave it. I don't want to put any contingency. Just you won't be held to this. We'll forget about whether you raise your hand or not immediately. Make sure, and I know some people, it's just natural when people love an area, they're going to be concerned about rapid growth because they think it's going to change. Actually, you do have a lot of land, and even if you doubled in size, if you do it right, it won't have much impact. If you do it wrong, it could have big impact. Yes, sir.
I agree with most of everyone said it's going to grow. But something else you have to consider, it's only going to grow to the extent that the infrastructure can afford.
That's right.
So we talk about how it's going to grow. Believe me, if you don't have the infrastructure,
Right.
you can tell about how.
That's right.
So it depends on what you're going to do about the infrastructure.
And I'd like to give a brief presentation and be able to answer your questions. Tonight's the launching of a major initiative for West Feliciana, and I'm glad you're all here. I'm all glad you're here too, and I'm really looking forward to letting you know what's going to happen because really want your participation in developing West Feliciana's comprehensive plan. I'd like to introduce myself and then certainly go through and introduce my team. I want to recognize Nancy Jensen, Nancy, of the parish jury, and Nancy is going to be our manager on this. And anyway, my name is John Fregonesi. I'm a planner. I live in Portland, Oregon, but my mother's side of the family is from Louisiana, so I'm not a complete stranger. I worked here for 2 years on Louisiana Speaks. I started out my profession with about 16 years as a small city planner in rural parts of my home state. The last 10 years I've done plans around the country, and it's really been a pleasure. The last 2 years working in Louisiana, and the last, certainly it's going to be a pleasure to work in West Louisiana. This is one of the more beautiful parts of the country, and I've been all over it, and I know you all know that and care very much about this area. We've got ABMB engineers, Steve Boudreau, Steve Crowley in the back. This process with going through guiding principles, going through goals, visions, and having you all develop scenarios. We're going to have a workshop on November 29th, and we want everybody in this room to come, and everybody in this room to bring at least 2 or 3 or 4 other people that would enjoy this kind of thing. Of West Louisiana, only about 9% is developed, and if you looked at the developed part, which is the part covered by buildings and lawns and roads and sidewalks and parking lots, about half of that is the developed part of Angola, thousands of acres there. So really, in the area of West Louisiana, about 8,000 acres is really your home.
How long has it been for, in your history, your past dealing with this, or has a significant impact financially, or I guess on the taxpayer, when it benefits?
It's going to work. First of all, it's that we like to get these things done in less than a year. So if this is successful around this time next year, you'll have a brand spanking new comprehensive plan. Depends on the growth rate, but typically you start to see effects in 3 to 5 years. You'll notice cumulative effects starting at that point. There's a group from Baton Rouge that's been in Portland, and certainly that has been a place that I've worked for 30 years, and that those things have added up. So they are still getting benefits from plans that were done 30 years ago. And surprising to me, the first plan I did as a planner when I was 28 is still in place and still providing some benefits. So not every plan that I've done has done that. Some plans went nowhere. And I think when I look back on what's been successful and what's not, it's number one, citizen involvement from the grassroots. Number 2, practical steps that you can take from the very first day to do it. I think it's important for these plans to be successful. One of the key things is to take an immediate step in the first year to move along in that direction. You have to do everything in the plan, it's impossible. But have a bite-sized chunk for year 1, 2, and 3 that gets you moving. Because we're going to do a visual reference. West Louisiana is projected to grow by anything from, basically projected to grow right now by the LSU by about 3,000 people. Most people we've talked to here think that's kind of low, and West Louisiana could grow a lot more. The reason is because Baton Rouge affects you. Being hooked in better, transportation-wise, by widening 61 and the new bridge may affect you, may not, but it may affect you in several different ways. One is as a suburb, the other one is as an area where employment will locate because of the advantages in West Louisiana. You've got water, rail, road, available land. You have a lot of things that may lead to a higher growth rate. It's interesting when we look at your age profile is that you are lacking people in the 20 to 34 year age. There's a gap here. And you have children and you have people in the older age, not a lot of retirees, people in the 34 to 65 year range, it seems to be the maximum, and some kids, but lacking that.